Hello everyone. Layers in the OSI model. The OSI model is layered framework for the design of network systems that allow communication between all types of computer systems. It consists of separate but related layers which define the part of the process of moving information across the network. So it is collection of some books, reference books containing the rules of what has to be did in each layer. So if we try to go through the functions of each layer in detail, it contains various protocols and their corresponding responsibilities like network process to application communication, selection of application, and encryption, data representation, and compression, and so on in the presentation layer, inter-host communication of end-to-end delivery in the session layer, end-to-end connection and reliability in transport layer, and path determination and logical addressing being taken care by network layer, physical addressing being taken care by data link layer, and the media, signal and binary transmission being taken care by the physical layer. In order to clearly understand about the functionalities of each layer and their protocols involved, let me go through with this use case scenario. So we have Henry, who is an Englishman, and Charles, who is a French person. And let us see the communication of information from Henry to Charles. So Henry says, this document must be sent to Charles' office in France immediately. The application layer receives this instruction and says, yes sir, your document should be sent as mail, so I will use SMTP protocol. Right. Then that is being sent to presentation layer, where presentation layer says our partner is French, so I have to translate it into French and style it in an email format, so presentable format and translation. And that when that data is being passed on to session layer says I will call them first to make sure they are available. I will also monitor during the transmission and terminate when finished. So that's the work of session layer to maintain the session. And when that is being given, the transport layer says I can control the speed when transmitting via flow control. I also break our mail into some parts and require our partner to acknowledge after receiving each part, so that the complete mail is being received by him. And once those parts are being given to network layer says let me add our office address and partner address on each part. So every part is added with address of both of them, and it is sent to data link layer, where data link layer says let me add our ID unique on the world and the local post office ID in each part, so that it helps to maintain mailman delivery it easily. So that's what the data link layer does. And the physical layer receiving it says this mail is urgent, so I will send it via plane. So that decision of the media is being taken care by physical layer. And once those protocols are followed and sent, at the receiver side the physical layer receives that information and says, hey, I received something, and gives it to data link layer. Data link layer checks, yes, it is for us. I will check for errors and fix it. So it will check for some errors, and if it is error free after correction, it gives it to network layer. It says it is from Henry, so from whom it has come, it has recognized, and it passes on the information to transport layer. Transport layer says I will reorder each part in the correct position so that it can be understood. I also tell them it has been received successfully. So that is communication, end-to-end delivery, and it passes on the combined part to the session layer. Then the session layer says the mail has been received So I will terminate the connection. So the connection establishment is being terminated. Then it passes on the information to presentation layer, where it says, let me format it in the way our boss can understand it easily. So it is converted into presentable format so that it will be useful for the user. Then even if it is if it has to be uncompressed or decrypted, all these things are being done. Then application layer says it's a mail, so I will use suitable services for it. It will open in the corresponding mailbox or Outlook Express or wherever it is. And finally Charles gets the message, and in French he receives it and reads it and says, well done my assistants. Who are his assistants? All the lower layers. So this is how the communication happens end to end from one host to another with the help of various layers of OSI reference model. Hope you would have understood